Have you ever noticed that the people who give you the least attention often occupy the most space in your mind? You wait for their message. You overanalyze every word, every glance, every silence. And somehow, the less they seem to care, the more you do. But why? Why do we chase people who are already walking away? The answer has less to do with love and much more to do with psychology.
Hello, everyone. This is The Quiet Signal, where we explore the psychology behind the world around us. We like to believe that attraction is rational, that we choose people because they're kind, compatible, or make us happy. But the human brain doesn't always work that way. Sometimes, what keeps us attached isn't affection, it's uncertainty. And uncertainty can be one of the most addictive feelings the brain experiences. Imagine someone who texts you back every time. They're predictable, safe. Your brain quickly understands the pattern. Now imagine someone else. Sometimes they're interested. Sometimes they're distant. Sometimes they disappear completely. Suddenly, every notification matters. Every interaction feels like a reward. Psychologists call this intermittent reinforcement. It's the same principle that makes slot machines so addictive. When rewards are unpredictable, the brain releases even more dopamine in anticipation. You don't become attached because you receive attention. You become attached because you never know when you'll receive it.
When someone ignores us, it often feels personal. Your brain starts asking questions. What's wrong with me? Why aren't I enough? Without realizing it, the relationship becomes less about the other person and more about proving your own value. You stop chasing them. You start chasing validation. You imagine that if they finally choose you, it will somehow prove that you were worthy all along. But self-worth was never supposed to come from someone else's approval.
There's another reason we can't let go. The human brain values scarcity. Things that are difficult to obtain often appear more valuable. Not because they actually are, but because they're rare. When someone is emotionally unavailable, your brain mistakes difficulty for importance. You begin to believe that the harder the chase, the greater the reward. But effort doesn't always equal value. Sometimes you're simply investing more into someone than they're willing to invest in you. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Sometimes you're not chasing the person. You're chasing the feeling that they'll finally choose you. Because if they do, it feels like every rejection you've ever experienced has finally been erased. But no relationship can heal a wound that started long before that person entered your life. Real love doesn't leave you constantly guessing. It doesn't survive on mixed signals. It doesn't require you to earn basic attention. The healthiest relationships aren't built on chasing, They're built on choosing. Again and again. The people who ignore us often stay in our minds because our brains confuse uncertainty with value. But the strongest relationships rarely begin with confusion. They begin with consistency. The next time you find yourself chasing someone who keeps pulling away, ask yourself one question. Am I chasing this person or the feeling of finally being enough? Because sometimes the person worth choosing is the one who never makes you wonder whether you're worth choosing at all.
Subscribe to understand better human psychology.